Rusty, this is really a tough run for Scott Riggs. I spoke with Ray Evernham. He was talking about his race cars, and he just said, you know, we're so far off on the geometry of our cars in the front ends that we have to go back to basics. And all of these guys, including Scott, are going to run better as we go forward. So this is a tough evening for him, for Scott. He's had a tough year. These Evernham race cars are off a little bit. Let's go to Dave.
And Carl Edwards makes a turn in, Brad. What they want to do is fix that car a little bit in the center. It was a little bit tight, a little bit loose off the corner. They're going to do that with an air pressure adjustment. Jamie.
Jeff Gordon coming in 4 tires again. He said that car is not responding late in the middle of the turn. It's not turning like he wants to. They're going to make a small adjustment. And let's go to Allen.
And Jimmy Johnson pits from 3rd position. You see the wrench just going in and out on the right rear corner of the car. A track bar adjustment to help the handling of this car. Looking for a little help in the center and off of the corners. 4-tire Johnson. And the car pit road second. That's 1 spot ahead of where he came in.
Here's the race off of pit road. Ryan Newman's minus a couple of spots. Kurt Busch up 3 positions. See, Edwards lost. They made major adjustments. You heard a moment ago on his car, the 99 car. Dale Earnhardt Jr. up 3 positions, now into 10th position. Rusty, everyone's talking about tight in the middle and loose off, but that's Richmond.
I'll tell you, you lose the front end of the car at Richmond, being a tight, that's going to slide the front end. But let's take a look at this replay right now. What actually happened? Oh, man, right front failure coming off the corner, and he was right coming off a turn 4 wide open. He got into it, and that just killed the car. You can see he lost the steering there.
His teammate right there looks like he just about got caught up in it.
Rick Monroe and Rodney Weiss, the NASCAR flagman, had a bird's eye view of this impact here for Scott Riggs. Heavy, heavy impact. Now just nudges the inside wall with his Dodge. Back with a restart and the green flag in a moment. Welcome back to Richmond International Raceway. Time now to take a look at our AT&T Crew Chief Challenge. Which driver will add a win to their win total tonight? Will it be Jimmy Johnson, B, Jeff Gordon, Carl Edwards, or Kurt Busch? Text the word crew to 191 on your wireless phone and send in your answer. The results will be shown later on in the race. You guys know who you'd vote for? Don't tell us. Yeah, we'll wait.
That's a tough one, though. That's a tough one.
That is very tough.
That is the toughest all year.
Pretty good stories developing here in the top 10. The 8 of Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 70 car. What a great run by Johnny Saunders. Climbed all the way up to 11th position. And right in front of him, Dale Earnhardt Jr. These guys have sailed up through the field and now are being shown in 10th and 11th as we get set for the restart. For more on the 70, let's check in with Dave.
And, Doc, they've done that with 4 tire stops and picking up spots on pit road. 2 on the first stop, 5 on this last stop. So the crew getting it done on pit road for Johnny Sauter. Sometimes it's a lot easier to earn those spots on pit road than trying to pass these guys on the track.
Well, guys, don't forget one thing now. Johnny Sauter, he's a short track ace. This guy's really good. This doesn't surprise me a bit.
Seems like this team's really taken to this new car, too. They've had some really good runs with this new car.
Johnny Sauter started back in 35th position, now being shown 11th. And of course, Earnhardt Jr. started 21st, is in 10th position. And the 6th car, they are taking him. That's David Reagan to the tail end along this line for 66. Now we are being told from NASCAR instead of the 6. That is Jeff Green. Tail end along this line with an issue with fueling on pit road. As he heads back down pit road, the pace car will turn left. And Jeff Gordon resumes the lead. He will lead him down to the green flag. It is Gordon, Johnson, and Ryan Newman, the top 3.
You know, you just wonder how fast his 12 car can be. He was out there before in 2 tires leading the race. 4 tires, he might really be flying.
You got Denny Hamlin now moving into the picture. This is one of his best racetracks, too.
Denny Hamlin, the Virginia native. They put that spring rubber in the right rear, and you heard Rusty Wallace tell you that's going to really help this car turn in the corner, and he's hanging right on the back of that 12 car of Ryan Newman.
And when he put the spring rubber in the back, he can't lose too much time doing that, and they didn't. And if you're going to make this change, guys, you need to make it early so you got time to race this thing and work on it later on.
The 66 car, Jeff Green, he came in for his penalty for improper fueling, then he was speeding on pit road, so now he has to make another pass-through penalty.
8 and the 29 running right together. Remember, these are the guys that are on the bubble, or two of them anyway. Harvick in the 29 in 12th, Earnhardt Jr. in 13th in the 8th car. He's going to try to hustle to the front. They are being shown in 9th and 10th, respectively.
It's a battle for 4th here. Kurt Busch underneath Denny Hamlin.
Now, Busch isn't locked in at all. He can't afford to have any problems. He get 2 races. He just needs to log these laps. Allen?
Hey, Rusty, just to follow up, we were talking about the 11 car, making that, taking the time to make that adjustment early. It's helped. Denny says, much better. Mike?
Well, talking with Kurt Busch earlier this weekend, he says this really reminds him of 2004 when he came into the make it or break it race needing to finish only 40th or better. Tonight, the magic number 36. He says he knows he needs to be conservative, but can't wait for that moment later in the race when his crew chief comes over the radio and tells him that he is locked in, because when he hears that, he'll know it's time to go. Well, guys, if he's holding back, he's going to be awfully good when he does actually stand on it.
Well, we're watching the 12 car and the 2 car, and right now, just in my opinion, I don't like how that 2 car looks compared to his teammate, Ryan Newman. Newman's got a lot less body roll. The car looks better right now to me.
One thing I've seen with these guys, though, they're all trying to find a good balance for this new car, whether it be with springs or bump stops on the shock or maybe external bump stops. So some of them are trying a lot of different things. So you see some of the cars rolling more than others, and there's really no magic or set setup for these guys.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. left side of your screen just a moment ago. The 29 car, Harvick went by to take the 9th spot away, and here comes Clint Bowyer to take the 10th position away from Earnhardt Jr.
Junior's last lap is a 23.08 compared to Jeff Gordon's 22.68, so almost 0.3 of a second slower. You see him working a high lane, and I don't believe he wants to be up there right now. The car doesn't look good there.
Hey, I don't think he's driving the car up there. I think his car's just not handling it good enough to stay on the bottom.
Jamie McMurray, the 26 car, becoming a factor. He now catches this crowd and begins to move in and work over the rear of the 8 car. Jamie McMurray said this is one of the tracks that he's never really run that well on. He said this track in Chicagoland have always been somewhat of an enigma for him. He said, but I'm hoping I can change that here tonight. And obviously the car running pretty well as he makes a move on the inside, getting the car to turn well to take the spot away or try to take it away from the 8 car.
Well, take a look at the 70 car. He's really holding on strong. Johnny Sauter, no fluke here. He's looking great right now. The car's handling good on the bottom of the track.
Junior really struggled with his car, though, trying to keep it on the bottom. See, these guys are losing touch, these guys in front of them.
One thing I'm noticing right now, the brake rotors, and a lot of these cars that aren't handling good are really starting to get red right now.
There's Harvick on the move again.
That's for 7th position. Kyle Busch still running up near Williamsburg, Virginia on the outside groove instead of Richmond. Everyone else went on the bottom of the racetrack, but it worked for him last night. So when he won the Busch race, and Harvick trying to make the inside move.
The cars just feel so much more comfortable on the top side of the racetrack than they do in the bottom, Jerry. They'll slide around when the track gets hot, gets slick, and that top groove is really working good.
Johnny Sauter all the way from 35th position, right there in the mix in the 70 car.
Well, he's one of the cars with the right front brake rotors really glowing hard in that car. If I was his pit crew, I'd be telling him, hey, Johnny, back off the brakes a little bit. You're going to kill him here, driving this torrid pace that he's running right now.
What do you feel as a driver when you know you're starting to have some brake issues? I mean, in the old days, you used to be able to smell it. Now drivers talk about just feeling it in the pedal.
Well, right now what happens, the brake pedal starts to get long. I mean, you push it, it goes longer to the floorboard. We call that getting soft.
Does it also, I've heard drivers say that it shakes some, too. You put your foot on the pedal and it shakes when they start getting hot.
With the guy not having any problem whatsoever is Jeff Gordon. I mean, he's running some fast lap times, fastest in the field right now.
Jeff Gordon has a 0.6 of a second lead over his teammate Jimmy Johnson in second place. 83 of 400 laps are complete.
I'm Stan Barrett, and this is the SportsCenter Minute powered by Vizio. In college football, Michigan tried to bounce back from its upset loss to Appalachian State last week. Wolverines at home taking on Oregon, but they wound up with their worst home loss in 40 years as the Ducks win it 39-7 in Ann Arbor. NFL news, Michael Strahan will play for the Giants against Dallas on Sunday night. Strahan had considered retirement during training camp before rejoining the Giants. That's the SportsCenter Minute. Now back to Richmond for more of the Chevy Rock and Roll 400.
questions, which is pretty typical for a Richmond race, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Two storylines that are driving the action tonight. 10 drivers are locked into the chase for the Nextel Cup, which means 3 drivers are fighting for 2 spots, Brad.
It's really a daunting task, obviously, for Earnhardt Jr. It looks to me as if Kurt Busch and Kevin Hart are just trying to protect their positions, walk some laps, stay out of trouble. Earnhardt Jr. needs to come on. He needs to be charging every lap.
Harvick and Busch have been running in the top 10 most of the night. And then the other storyline, the drivers that are locked in, and really nothing but a win matters tonight.
Those guys, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, those guys are going for the victory tonight. Tony Stewart also moving up through the field in 8th place. And how about a good run for Johnny Sauter? He's back in 12th position right now. Just moved to 11th.
Jeff Gordon, who is the leader, has 4 wins. He wants that top seed back again, and he has led the most laps tonight. But he's been battling it out with his teammate Jimmy Johnson.
They're trying to get these race cars figured out, but they're up front with their little bit of trouble that they're having, and it's a good place to be. Once they figure it out, they could check out on everyone.
And Doc Dale Earnhardt sitting there in 13th. 51 races without a win. This sure would be a good time.
Indeed it would, Susie. Earnhardt Jr. trying to hustle that car. The car not to his liking right now, but what's happening up front is that Jimmy Johnson is running down his teammate, Jeff Gordon.
The 66 car is the one that crashed this party. He's 3 laps down, but he passed Jeff Gordon, went around him on the outside here, and I think it's kind of slowed Jeff up a little bit.
Well, it slowed him up at that last lap by. Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson are on identical speeds of 23.44. But the car in front has slowed Jeff down and lost his rhythm just a little bit.
Jeff Gordon trying to hold on. He's now led 55 laps. With more on Jeff, here's Jamie.
I was talking to Steve McCart, the crew chief for Jeff Gordon, earlier today, and I asked him about Jeff's car. He said this is the same one he ran here in the spring, but they decided to go over to their teammate Jimmy Johnson and get his setup. So the 2 cars are actually almost identical, which is why they're running 1 and 2 and running almost identical times.
Back in the spring, it was Jimmy Johnson who won the race and Jeff Gordon who finished 4th. Now the battle on the right side of your screen, that's the battle for 5th. Ryan Newman and Denny Hamlin.
Like, it just goes to show you how good track positioning. If you get out front in clean air like the 12 did with 2 tires, you can really set sail. But now he's back in the pack a little bit. Even though he's got 4 tires, he can't run as quick.
The other thing that happens on a short track when you get back in traffic is you have to use the brakes a lot more, too. Because you're around all these other cars, and you have to use the brakes sometimes where you don't want to.
Battle for 14th position, Casey Mears, and it was announced this week that Casey will drive the number 5 car next year for Hendrick Motorsports with Alan Gustafson as his crew chief. That's the car and the crew chief that Kyle Busch has this year. He is battling Matt Kenseth in the 17 car, and that is for the 14th position.
Take a look at Juan Pablo Montoya working the bottom of the track. We've been watching him throughout the race, and another guy's got a good-looking car, handling good, driving good and smart right now. It's too early in this race to get too excited.
Mike?
Well, guys, I was talking with his crew chief, Donnie Wingo, earlier today, and he told me that really Juan Pablo has made great strides since the beginning of the season, in particular in relation to the spring race here in Richmond. They really struggled. What he's gotten better with is being able to drive a very loose car. They needed to set it up loose to be good here, and he's been real happy with it. The other thing he's been good at is being able to determine what adjustments to make over the course of a long run and anticipating how the car will change. So far tonight, he's dictated a couple of the changes they've made on the 42 car.
Juan Pablo Montoya, the former Indy 500 winner, and we're being told that we'll have another Indy 500 winner coming next year. Jacques Villeneuve will be driving a Toyota for Bill Davis. And what about yesterday was mentioned that Dario Franchitti could be coming here at the end of this year to run the NASCAR Busch Series and ARCA cars for Chip Ganassi and maybe run Cup in 2008 for Ganassi, just like what he's done with Juan Pablo Montoya.
Well, Dario Franchitti's one heck of a race car driver. I know Dario a little bit. He's a really great fellow, a lot of talent. And if he gets into NASCAR, trust me, he's going to do good in this sport. It might take him a little bit, but I expect him to do as good as Juan Pablo Montoya.
Seems like Montoya has opened the floodgates for these open-wheel guys to look at this sport and say, hey, this may be somewhere I want to go.
Speaking of Bill Davis, right behind this battle is the Bill Davis car, the 22 of Dave Blaney. Blaney, the former World of Outlaws champion. Here's the 5 car that's actually sliding backwards a little bit. Kyle Busch car, the handle's starting to go away a little bit.
Well, I would venture to say in the last pit stop they made a change that didn't work. And so right now he's just holding on to the car. He's been one of the fastest cars. He's about a half a second off the pace right now, though.
See the position progression for Kyle Busch. You see, certainly, as you mentioned, Rusty, from third on back through the field now, and he's still slipping back. He's now being shown back in 13th position.